I was so afraid to speak English that I would pretend to check my phone just to avoid speaking English. I studied English for years. I knew grammar, I knew vocabulary, but when someone spoke to me in English, I froze. My mind went blank, my heart started racing.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam, and this is Maya.
Hi.
Today, Maya is going to tell you her story, how she went from being terrified to speak English to speaking fluently and confidently.
And I'm going to tell you exactly what changed, the one thing that made all the difference.
By the end of this conversation, you will understand why you're afraid to speak.
And more importantly, you will know how to overcome that fear.
So stay with us. This is going to be honest, real, and hopefully helpful. Before we start, I need to ask you something. If you are tired of being afraid to speak English,
If you are tired of staying quiet when you have something to say,
then right now, hit that subscribe button.
not later, right now, because this conversation is for you, and I don't want you to miss what comes next.
This is your sign. Subscribe now, then come back. We'll wait.
Okay, let's begin. So let me take you back. 5 years ago, I was living in my home country. I had studied English in school for maybe 8 years.
8 years is a long time.
I know, but here's the problem. I only studied grammar and vocabulary. I never practiced speaking. So when I moved to an English-speaking country for work, I thought I would be fine. I thought, I know English, this will be easy.
But it wasn't easy.
It was terrifying. On my first day, someone asked me a simple question. They said, "How was your weekend?" And I just stood there. I knew the words, I knew how to answer, but nothing came out of my mouth. I was frozen.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Panic, pure panic. My heart was beating so fast, my face got hot, and all I could think was, they're going to think I'm stupid.
But you weren't stupid.
No, but I felt stupid, and that feeling, it stayed with me for months. After that first day, I started avoiding situations where I had to speak English. If I saw someone I knew, I would cross the street. If my phone rang and it was an English speaker, I wouldn't answer.
You were hiding.
I was hiding because every time I tried to speak, I made mistakes, and every mistake felt like failure.
So you were stuck. You wanted to speak better, but you were too afraid to practice. And because you weren't practicing, you weren't improving.
Exactly. It was a cycle, a terrible cycle, and I didn't know how to break it.
But something changed. Something made you decide to face that fear. What was it?
It was a specific moment. I remember it so clearly. I was at a coffee shop. I had been living in the country for 6 months at this point, still afraid, still avoiding people.
What happened?
I ordered my coffee. The barista asked me a question, something simple like, "Do you want milk with that?" And I panicked. I didn't understand her accent, so I just said yes. She gave me the coffee with milk, but I'm lactose intolerant. I can't drink milk. So I had to go back and ask her to change it.
That must have been hard.
It was. I was so nervous. My voice was shaking, but I said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, can I have this without milk?" And you know what she said? She smiled and she said, "Of course, no problem." That's it. No judgment, no frustration, just kindness. And in that moment, something clicked in my brain. I realized the fear in my head was bigger than the reality. People weren't judging me. They didn't care if I made mistakes. I was the only one judging myself.
That's powerful.
It was. Because up until that moment, I thought everyone was listening to my English and thinking, wow, she is terrible. But they weren't. They just wanted to understand me.
So that moment at the coffee shop, that's when you decided to change your mindset.
Exactly. I decided I'm going to stop being afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are not failure. Mistakes are part of learning. And that decision, that one decision, changed everything. Because once I stopped being afraid of mistakes, I started speaking more. And the more I spoke, the better I got.
Okay, so the mindset shift was the breakthrough, but what did you actually do? Like day to day, what changed?
Good question. Let me tell you exactly what I did, step by step. So, after that coffee shop moment, I made a plan. I decided I was going to practice speaking every single day, no matter what.
Every single day?
Every single day. Even if it was just for 5 minutes, even if it was just talking to myself. The first thing I did was practice speaking alone, in my room, by myself.
How did you do that?
I would talk about my day, in English, out loud. I would say things like, "Today I went to work. I had a meeting. The meeting was boring." Just simple sentences. At first, I felt silly, like, who talks to themselves? But then I realized this is the safest way to practice. No one's listening, no one's judging. I can make all the mistakes I want.
And did it help?
It helped so much because it trained my mouth to form English words. It trained my brain to think in English, and it built my confidence little by little.
Okay, so that was method 1, speaking alone. What was method 2?
Method 2 was narrating my life like a movie.
What do you mean?
While I was doing normal things, I would describe them in English, in my head or out loud if I was alone. For example, I'm making coffee. I would say, "I'm pouring water into the kettle. Now I'm turning it on. Now I'm waiting for it to boil." Just describing everything.
That's smart. You're practicing without even trying.
Exactly. And it doesn't take extra time. You're just narrating what you're already doing.
So speaking alone, narrating your life, those were the first 2 methods. What was else?
Building confidence. Method 3 was forcing myself into small interactions with English speakers.
Like what?
Ordering food, asking for directions, saying hi to neighbors. Tiny conversations that only last 1 or 2 minutes. The key is they were low stakes. If I made a mistake, it didn't matter. I would never see that person again.
So you practiced on strangers.
Yes, strangers are the best people to practice on because there's no pressure. You don't have a relationship to protect. And at first, these small interactions were still scary. My heart would beat fast, my hands would sweat, but after a few weeks, they became easier. And then they became normal.
Okay, so 3 methods so far: speaking alone, narrating your life, small interactions with strangers. Was there a 4th?
Yes, and this one is the most important. I started celebrating my mistakes.
Celebrating them, not avoiding them?
Not avoiding them, celebrating them. Every time I made a mistake, I would think, good, that's one more mistake I won't make again. Because here's the truth. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. If you're not making mistakes, you're not pushing yourself.
That's a complete mindset change.
It is, and it was the hardest one, but also the most powerful one, because once I stopped fearing mistakes, I stopped fearing speaking.
Okay, so those are the 4 methods, but I'm sure it wasn't easy the whole time. There must have been struggles. Tell us about those.
Ooh, there were so many struggles. I want to be real with you. This wasn't a smooth journey. There were days when I felt like I wasn't improving at all. I would practice, and then I would have a conversation and still mess up. And I would think, what's the point? Why am I even trying?
Discouragement.
Deep discouragement. And loneliness too, because I was in a new country. I didn't have many friends yet. And speaking English every day was exhausting. There was this one day, I remember, I had a phone call with my bank, and I didn't understand what they were saying. I had to ask them to repeat themselves 4 times. 4 times.
That must have been frustrating.
I hung up the phone and cried. I felt so stupid. I thought, I've been doing this for months and I still can't understand a phone call? But then I remembered what I had decided. Mistakes are part of learning. This phone call was hard, but next time it will be easier.
And was it?
Yes, the next phone call was easier. Not perfect, but easier. And that's progress.
So even during the struggles, you kept going. You didn't give up.
I didn't give up because I had changed my mindset, and that made all the difference.
Okay, so you pushed through the hard times and eventually things got better. Tell us about that. How did your life change?
After about 6 months of practicing every day, something amazing happened. I stopped thinking in my native language.
You started thinking in English?
Yes, without trying. I would wake up in the morning and my thoughts were in English. I would dream in English. It became automatic. And speaking became easy. Not perfect, I still make mistakes, but easy, natural. I don't panic anymore. I don't freeze. I just speak.
That's incredible.
It is, and it opened up my whole life. I made friends, real friends. I got promoted at work because I could communicate better. I felt at home in this country for the first time. Looking back now, I can't believe I was that scared girl who crossed the street to avoid speaking English. That feels like a different person.
But it's still you. You just grew.
I grew, and you can grow too. That's why I wanted to share this story. If you are afraid to speak English right now, I understand. I was you, but I promise you, if you change your mindset about mistakes, if you practice even a little bit every day, you will get better. You will break through.
Maya, thank you for sharing your story. This was powerful.
Thank you for letting me share it.
Okay, everyone, if Maya's story resonated with you,
If you saw yourself in any part of it,
then do us a favor. Leave a comment right now and tell us, what is your biggest fear about speaking English?
be honest. We want to hear from you. And who knows, your comment might help someone else feel less alone.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. We share conversations like this every week. Real stories, real advice, no fluff.
Hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it.
Before we go, take care of your heart. You're doing better than you think. Bye, everyone.
See you next time.